Hey guys, welcome to episode 15 of the LGBTQ Voice. Tonight I actually have Alex co-hosting with me, and our guest tonight is Cody Suzuki. Our conversation is sexual orientation versus gender identity. They are totally two separate units, and we want you guys to be able to know what we were talking about when we talk about this. People had questions and concerns. So we thought we would talk about it today. So if you guys could, when you guys are tuning in, let us know where you guys are from. If you're from Acushnet, if you're from Fall River, how far away you're at, maybe how long you've been watching the show, and any questions that you have. Alex is going to be our Eileen tonight. Eileen Dugas is working on Pride. So New Bedford Pride is when?
June 2nd.
Psych. We actually will be at Buttonwood Park again this year. So we have yoga in the park in the morning with Jeff Costa at 9:30. We have New Bedford Well. We'll be doing the wellness walk, the 1.9 mile walk around the park. And then we'll be having our Pride from 11 to 4. Our pre-Pride party will be at Incognito Friday night. Alex, you can't go. You're not 21. I'm sorry. And then the after Pride party will be at La Place, as it usually has been. So Eileen's working on some Pride stuff, so she'll be back with me next week. And hopefully we'll have a good show and be episode 16 for us. So sexual orientation. So I'm going to describe sexual orientation, and Alex is going to describe gender identity. We're trying to keep it separate so you guys understand that they are two separate terms. So sexual orientation basically means who you love and who you are attracted to. Plain and simple. What is gender identity?
So gender identity is how you feel, whether it be male, female, neither, or both. This can be different from the anatomy that you were born with, so sex is assigned at birth.
All right. So when I ask you what your sexual orientation is, you would tell me?
I am pansexual.
All right. Now you see your sexual orientation?
I'm pansexual.
All right. When I ask you what your gender identity is?
I'm trans FTM.
So what's FTM mean?
Female to male.
All right. And
I consider myself an FTM and also a genderqueer.
all right. Cool beans. So one of the other things we want to talk about today is pronouns. We'll get to that a little bit later. But we wanted to explain to you guys what LGBTQ under the umbrella means. There's more terms under the umbrella as we grow, or as our youth self-discover. Alex told me that word earlier, and I love it. Self-discovery. More words come out. So let's talk about LGBTQ. So since I am a lesbian here, as I say, lesbian is two people of the same gender who love each other, and it's two women.
So gay, being the second letter of LGBT, is two people of the same gender who love each other, two men or two women.
There you go. And how funny is that lesbian can be both gay and lesbian. And I actually identify as gay. I always have. It's just that, I don't know, that lesbian word, I've always said I'm gay. I'm old school, I guess. But bisexual. People can love other people of both genders. People get to love who they love. And Alex and I had a conversation offline earlier. So bisexual is two genders. Thank you so much. So I could like a male or FTM, or I could like a male and MTF, as long as it's just the two. So there's still a lot more broad umbrella that goes with that, but bi is just two genders. Yes. All right. You get the T.
The T, transgender or trans. It is when your gender identity, so how you feel, is different than how your body, which is your anatomy, when a person with a boy body feels like a girl, or vice versa when there is a girl body but you feel like a boy.
All right, cool beans. I have the Q. So Q is queer and questioning. So, hey, we got a beep beep. So queer, this word can mean different or peculiar. It can also mean someone who is gay. When used in a mean way, it is a word that hurts. Many people now use it in a positive way to identify it with and celebrate people of all gender identities and the way people choose to love each other. And questioning. We have kids that we talked about earlier with yourself, that you had said that you came out as first, what, bisexual?
Bisexual.
That you were lesbian, and now you're a trans person. So we talked about that discovery. So yeah, that's our LGBTQ. However, we have a couple of other terms that are youth. So the TV show that we do right here is from the network. And the network actually has 11 groups and organizations that make up the network. And one of them is NB Agley. And Alex is one of our youth that go to NB Agley. So NB Agley is our Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth in New Bedford. What the heck was I going with the story? I have no idea. I lost my train of thought.
with the introductions.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Thank you, I appreciate that. So each week that we meet, again, we talk about youth discovering who they are. They may change each week, and I have to get used to that. One week, Alex may be pansexual, panromantic, transsexual, a trans individual. So we actually ask when we sit down, what your sexual orientation and what your pronoun is, because I don't want to say she when Alex is a he, and I don't want to have somebody call me he when I identify or my pronoun is a she. So we use he, his, him, she, hers, hers, and Cody was saying earlier that, just you're better off saying they, them, theirs. Just to kind of, you don't want to offend people. I actually did an interview with a young kid. At my last job, I would Google an individual, Facebook the individual before I did an interview, find out a little bit more about the individual. And when I looked at the application, it was a female name. When I looked at the person up online on their female name on Facebook, I saw a transitioning female to male, FTM. So when I did the interview with her, I asked her, and I said, just to let you know, I went on Facebook and I look at people's profiles to make sure that they're the kind of person we want to work with, and what pronoun would you like to use and what name would you like. So she told me that she wanted to be he and what he wanted to be called. So I think taking that step and asking people is okay. At our youth group, we have, what is it? Oops, ouch.
Ouch, oops.
Ouch, oops. Can you explain that?
So we use ouch, oops is for pronouns. So say if a person uses they, them, and I use she, hers, they would say ouch, and I would say oops, or whoever catches it. So when...
If I said Alex and I said, oh, she, Alex would say ouch because I hurt Alex. And I'd say, oops, I apologize, I'm sorry, and I would correct myself. So I do that on occasion because I don't want to say I'm old school, but when I see somebody and it looks like female, I say she. That's something that I've been learning. And we talked about this offline. There's some people out there that just don't want to change. And they just don't care to change. So what are some of your stories? You going to talk about your dad?
Oh, so when I first came out to my family, my dad told me that he knew all my life, but he wasn't willing to change the pronouns that he uses. Same with my little siblings. He wasn't going to tell them that I was going through transitioning until I actually told them my personal self.
Yeah. So we got to talk about our pronouns. We talked about LGBTQ.
I'd like to talk about my parents.
Sure.
My parents are getting on in years, and I think for a lot of us, when we deal with people that are getting on in years, is it in a negative way that they're misgendering us? Or is it just, they are just, maybe a little senile? I think you have to take into the effect of who and what. Is it derogatory, or is it a slip of the tongue? As for my family, I think it's really hard when you've grown up and from birth and they've known you, and it's hard for them to grapple with the concept of transition. What I have said now to them is, please don't embarrass me, which means if I'm out in public or at a restaurant and you're going to she me there, you actually put me in danger. And also, you're embarrassing me and you're probably embarrassing yourself, because obviously if somebody looks at you and says, well, there's some sort of mistake here. Now, who's made it? The parent? The person sitting there? Like people's heads don't need to be grappled around things. Just say, oh, you would like to order, another coffee? Okay. It doesn't, even if you don't use a name or you don't use a pronoun. Some situations you don't even have to use that.
Oh, definitely.
So what I always say is just please don't embarrass me. And it's funny because if I walk into a public place, I say, don't embarrass me. They already know what I'm talking about. And maybe with their, old school mentality or with their seniority or old age, I hate to say this, but with their old age, maybe that's something that they can more comprehend. You have to probably give, especially older family members, a little bit of leeway.
Sure.
But as for your personal friends, they need to get it right.
Yeah.
You know, your grandkids, you want to bring them up and let them know. I mean, it's just...
It's kind of like my twin.
It's
When
a
people call me
personal,
Terry, and they've known me for all these years, and I'm like, oh my God, when are you going to get it? You know, I'm Tracy. You've known me for how many years? You know, so I have to kind of, kind of process that. It's a process.
It's a process, and pick your battles.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes you just walk away.
So you talked about your mom and dad. Do you have any other siblings?
My brother.
Yeah. How does he feel about your transition?
Actually, he's from California. He feels pretty good about it. To be honest with you, it's different locations, different communities. You'd be amazed at the difference.
Do anybody talking to us, Alex?
Heather said hi.
Heather, where are you from?
She says she's from New Bedford. She commented after that.
She's from where?
She said hi guys, and then after that she commented from New Bedford.
What else we got? Any comments?
Kelly said hi, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin's got a girl. So who's Kevin?
Kevin is one of our peer leaders who is offsets.
Yes.
Currently.
He's a behind the scenes guy. He's going to be learning some of our production and odds and ends behind the scenes. So he must have a friend that knows he's here.
Hi, Kel.
Hi. Kevin says hi. And no one's ever seen you, have they, Kevin?
No.
Do you want to come on real quick?
I'm good.
He's good. This job is not for everybody, that's for sure. Any other comments?
No.
Not yet?
No, ma'am.
All right. So we think it's plain and simple, sexual orientation versus gender identity. We talk about it at our youth group. We talk about it, we talk like another hour off screen.
2 hours.
2 hours off screen, yeah. What we do over notes, we went over a whole bunch of stuff, what to say, what not to say. If you guys have any questions and trying to figure out what it is or why there's a separation of it, it is what it is. It's who you love. It's what who you're attracted to. So I know you wanted to talk about three sexes. Can we talk about
first?
Oh, would you like to?
The weight message.
Ah, the weight message.
The weight message.
So Alex is going to read something that I found on Facebook, and I was able to print it out. In our community, or in a lot of communities, people always wonder why somebody waited so long to come out as a trans individual. So when I found this, I thought it was real prevalent to tonight's show. So Alex is going to read that for us.
So it's called The Weight Message Being Sold to All Trans People. 5 years old. Wait till you're older before you transition. The kids will be mean to you. 12 years old. Wait till high school before you transition. The kids in high school will be more accepting of you. 16 years old. Wait till you finish high school. Your marks are more important right now. 18 years old. Wait till you've left the house. Your father will kill you. 20 years old. Wait till you've got the job before you transition. You'll risk getting employed now. 25 years old. Wait till you've found a safer job. These people are dangerous. 30 years old. Why are you only transitioning now? If you're really trans, you would have known when you were younger. I'm not suddenly realizing I'm trans. I'm just tired of being told to wait for some imaginary time when it might be safe for me to exist as I am.
Yeah. That just kind of hit home to me. Our group, the South Coast LGBTQ network, received emails recently, and I actually just got hit up a couple weeks ago. There's a 7-year-old youth that's transitioning right now. So we actually opened up on Wednesday nights at 484 Pleasant Street, a Perfect Place Community Center, formerly in Bagley, or part of our Bagley Youth Center. And we opened up to ages up to 13 right now with your parents. And I joke all the time, do not just drop your kid off and run. It's not like a daycare.
Please do not.
Please do not. So the youth get to do activities, arts and crafts, talk about what they're going through, and the parents get the chance to talk to other parents and talk to Eileen. Eileen Dugas is a tremendous woman, and she's going to be running that group for us on Wednesdays. And we started that in February. So we have several youth that go with their parents because there's just so many questions out there. Sexual orientation versus gender identity, and again, it's self-discovery. And we go back and forth, where am I, until, it's kind of like a good shoe. Sometimes you try on 4 pairs of shoes before one fits, and sometimes that's the way it is with, what is it, gender identity? Yeah.
Self-discovery.
What, honey?
Through self-discovery.
Through self-discovery. That's a great word. I'm going to keep using that one. So what are the 3 sexes that you want to talk about?
So the three sexes under the categories are male, female, and intersex. And for those who don't know what intersex mean, which used to be hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite.
Yep.
I can never pronounce that word. Intersex is just as our hair, eyes, and noses are different. There is a variation in all of our anatomy. So say if you were born a male at birth, you could have some female parts in you that can include different organs that a female would have and a male wouldn't.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Yeah. Why do you think it was important to discuss that today?
I think it was important because there have been some issues occurring where people often confuse the difference between gender and sex. When you're filling out an application, normally the application does not ask you for your gender. It asks you for your sex. And I believe when people say there are two genders, they're often referring to sex. And I believe there's a difference between like gender and sex. There is. Gender identity is the many a broader spectrum, and sex is male, female, and intersex.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. So we are also going to talk about two other things that we heard at our youth group. So our youth group is ages 14 to 24 on Thursday nights, LGBTQ youth, and we actually meet this Friday, right, Kevin?
Yep.
What's Friday?
First Fridays.
All right. So First Fridays is youth-driven, peer-led, without adult support. Even though our peer leaders are 18 and older, it'll be without myself, Eileen, John, or David, any of the adult advisors. So every first Friday, the youth will get together. So probably about a year ago, when we talk about, hi, my name is Tracy, I am gay, I go by she, her, hers. Somebody said, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm pansexual. And they said, I go by she, and I'm going, and of course I'm like, excuse me, hello. I said, what is pansexual? So we wanted to kind of talk about what pansexual is and panromantic, because we're talking about sexual orientation and we're talking about gender identity. So pansexual is heart, not the parts. I like the heart of the person, and I don't care what the person's parts are.
Identify.
Yeah. And you were going to do panromantic?
You were doing.
I'm going to do them both? All right. So panromantic, I'm attracted to all sexes, all under the LGBTQ and everything else that's underneath it, in a romantic way, but not necessarily in a sexual way. So some of our kids will say they're pansexual or they're panromantic. I'm LGBTQ, and there's others as well. We just wanted to kind of give you guys a broad, general. We call it the Welcoming Schools program version. There's a lot. What did we say? There was 5 pages, 4.5 pages of terminology that are out there right now, and it's growing as self-discovery grows. So
Well, can I just interrupt you?
I would
real
love you
quick?
to.
What I would like to mention is, once you have all this paperwork and all these definitions,
Yeah.
what it really boils right down to is it's one human being attracted to another, or one human being loving another human being, one human being interacting with another human being, one human being accepting another human being. It's very easy, and once you realize that, it's even easier. So respect is probably the name of the game.
I just wish that more people would be able to figure that out, you know?
Oh, they will if you just say that. I mean, a lot of times, even if you're getting twisted, I don't want to tell you what to do, but if you're getting your tongue twisted with the kids group or with people with questions or people calling in, say, wow, you're one human being loving another human being. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
More on a human level.
I think as well as
we're so put into boxes.
Some of our youth are speaking up more now,
some other box.
and they're making that statement. So when somebody makes a statement,
Right.
people feel
but
they
then
need
you have
to add to it or have that
yes.
conversation or conflict of.
But
That's
now
what our
you're
society's
finding
been.
too is people every day are changing. I know when I wake up this morning, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I don't even feel like I'm the same person I was. I've been through a day's experience. I've had some interactions or whatever. We change. We're constantly evolving, constantly changing.
So one of the things we talked about earlier offline, so what age were you when you realized that, hey, you know what, I'm...
To be honest with you, when I grew up, I always felt like androgynous. When I went through puberty, I really had a hard time accepting, this maybe isn't quite right. I loved my childhood.
Yeah.
It was like so okay just to be me. And I found that, after I started, transitioning a little bit, or, changing or just exploring gender identity, how much more I just enjoy being me.
Yeah.
I'm a person, a soul, and a human body. I'm just a person first. This is the body that I've been given, and I'm going to do the best, maybe it's not the body that I would have chosen, but it's the body that I was given, and I'm still the person inside.
So,
if that makes sense. But that's for me. I speak from my own experience.
Oh, definitely.
Everybody's experience, everybody's life is different.
So do you ever take testosterone your whole life? How does that work?
For now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm dated. I think everybody. I can't predict tomorrow. I don't know.
So it's as long as you feel you need to, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. Yeah. And we talked about Alex is going through a transition right now. You want to talk about that?
So I started transitioning with the T injections, which I do weekly. I started back in November.
And I actually ask Alex every youth, about once a month or so, if he could update some of our youth of what he's been going through. We actually have one of our youth who's, I believe, 16. We don't say names. He's homeschooled, and for a couple of years now, he's been talking to his mom, his moms, and his doctors, and he actually just had top surgery 2 months ago. So we had one of our kids at 16 already has been going through it. And it's not a decision that comes lightly. It's, talking to your family, talking to your doctors, seeing where you're at. Is this the right move? It's not like, hey, listen, flip a switch and today, I'm a FTM. So it's a transition that he's going to be going through for the rest of his life. And that's something that Alex said. I said, well, when does it stop? And you said?
Never stops.
Why not?
You're always transitioning. You're always coming out. Like, it's always an everyday, like, waking up, feeling this way, and then being able to, like, express yourself. So it's mainly always changing.
So one of the things Cody brought up earlier is coping mechanisms. So what are the things that you like to do, Cody?
Actually, I do a lot of gardening, and when you go out into your gardens and you see things, they just bloom. It's not like they say, well, I should be this gender, I should be that gender, I should grow higher than this one or that. Everything just blooms. Everything blossoms and blooms and grows. The interaction of pollinators and bugs and birds, and it just amazes me, nature, and how nature seems so perfect, but yet when you really look close, maybe it isn't quite so perfect, but I'll tell you what, it does fine. So I almost feel like, maybe we've lost that in our cultures and our religions or whatever, how interconnected we really are to everything. We've lost that connection. We're dividing ourselves. We're putting ourselves into boxes. We're hating each other. We're looking too close. I almost wish we could just accept everyone. I mean, this is my personal feelings.
Yeah.
I also do a lot of spoken word poetry. It also helps because it allows me to use my words to communicate, to educate, to reach people. I'm opening for a play. In a couple of weeks. It's going to be running for most of May and into June. Put on through URI, and I'm the opening spoken word act. So messages can get out there.
And Cody,
would you like a little piece?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Is it the real me that you see? Or someone I was supposed to be? Tell me who you thought I'd be. Is it the real me? For I was born without a gender guarantee, and there is no such warranty. Do you really need a gender referee to truly see? Yes, this is the real me.
Cool.
Stuff like that.
Oh, sorry, we snap at you. We get used to it. Wherever I go, I'm like, oh, God, where am I at today? Where am I at today?
Just using spoken word as I have a lot of other pieces. It allows me to center myself, to calm myself, and it also allows me to spread messages of gender affirmations and.
Well, I met Cody probably maybe 10 years or so ago, and we used to be on South Coast Equality together.
Yes.
And South Coast Equality is actually one of the member groups of our 11 organization groups of the network. And Cody used to perform at our Pride events, and Cody will be at New Bedford Pride this year as well.
Thank you for the
being on
invitation.
stage. So we reached out to Cody and others in our community. So just want to put a shout out to that. So what do you do to kind of cope through what you're going through?
So I practice martial arts. So I either do the Tai Chi, which is different movements, where it could be like opening a window, waving goodbye, and I even draw. So whatever I'm feeling, I usually put on paper and I draw it.
Interesting.
So we talked offline that Alex goes to the charter school.
Yes.
And there was not a GSA, and that's a Gay Straight Youth Alliance at some of the schools. There was one, and the teacher went away, and there may be somebody taking over right now. But Alex had said that, the guidance counselors for the most part are pretty good at the school, which is terrific. But how has it been? Like you said that you haven't told some of the kids, but I guess they may know now, what you're going through. So you wanted to kind of tell us about that?
So the way my school works is most of us have been together since we were 10, 11 years old. Now we're all seniors in high school, and it's kind of different to just say, because back then I was identifying as a female, and now throughout mainly my all 4 years of high school, I've been identifying outside of school as a male. And it's weird to me and hard for me to actually tell them, hey, I'm a male, please use these pronouns, please use this name, when they've already known me as my other name for so many years. All of my teachers I have this year, and a lot of the middle school teachers actually know about me transitioning, and they're all accepting, and they're willing to like call me by my preferred name. But it's mainly when it's like one-on-one conversations instead of like in front of the other students. That way, like rumors don't start, because my school's so small.
Yeah.
5th through 12th has less than 600 kids. My graduating class is 37.
That's funny.
It is very small.
Wow.
Yes, and it's just like I don't want anything to start where it's like people making jokes or saying rude comments, or it just escalates. Where
Well, one of the things that I'm very proud of Alex for is Alex actually sent an email to his teachers and let them know. He goes, I don't know how, you said you went to the Trans Summit. You want to talk about that real quick?
So the Trans Summit, I went back in October, I believe, of 2017 with a couple of friends of mine. The Trans Summit was like, it was so amazing because it was mainly Boston area people, but it was so cool to see that like there are so many people who identify the same way I do. And we went through youth discrimination, housing, and we went through college and transitioning and hormones and all that. It was all around the spectrum. It was before I started hormones too, so it was like a good gateway to experience like all these other different ways you could actually go on hormones.
So when Alex came back from that summit, he got some balls, I guess, and decided to write a letter to everybody.
That night.
That night.
That night.
You know, he was like, yes, I can do it, and he typed it out and sent it out. So what, after you sent it, what were your thoughts?
I was really nervous, but I knew that like my teachers were gonna be fine with it. Because they're all very nice. Well, some of them. But and actually like 5-10 minutes, emails started coming through, and I'm like, oh god, I don't want to look at this. Do I have to look at this? And I was sitting at my kitchen table, and I'm like crying at the responses that they were giving me. It was all positive.
Did you save them?
I did save them.
So, Cody, I know you're a little bit older than Alex. Do you wish you could have transitioned earlier in life? Or is this the way it was supposed to be, and it is what it is?
That's a good question, because when I was growing up, there really wasn't any resources, or we didn't have LGBTQ, GSA, or anything like this. So I kind of kept most of it to myself. It was only as I got a little bit older that you start realizing, oh yes, these things really exist. This is how I feel. Looking back, I don't know. I have 3 beautiful children. And sometimes I wonder, I don't think that I would have had those children if I felt like this. I mean, I'm not sure. That's a really, really hard question. I mean, I'm so proud of, things today, for children today, with the opportunities that they have that I did not have. But I'm actually just happy to be right where I am today. I think through the transitioning and through, people that I've met, resources that I've found, and I've actually felt like I did as a child. I felt free as a child until puberty. Now I feel, free as an adult.
So
there's like a gap in my life.
So what do your kids call you?
I cannot change history, so
Yeah.
I will always be their mother.
Yeah, no, I just want to...
See, that's just something that, I think interpersonal relationships, especially with close family, there's some things that you just can't really...
Because I'm a mom.
Work around,
So we've had 3 people comment. Carol said hi. Donna said hi. And another Donna said hi, Tracy and Cody. Great job, guys.
Good job.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Awesome. Any questions?
Nope.
That's all right. Maybe we're doing such a good job they don't need questions right now.
Maybe we're answering their questions.
Like kind of high five. Do you want to read what the state law is? Would you do that for us?
So state law.
Yeah.
So the state law of Massachusetts is an anti-discrimination law which prohibits discrimination in employment, housing, credit, services, and schools based on sexual orientation and gender identity. In addition, Executive Order 526 issued by Governor Patrick in February of 2011 provides that all programs, activities, and services provided, performed, licensed, chartered, funded, regulated, or contracted for by the state shall be conducted without unlawful discrimination based on, among other things, sexual orientation and gender identity or expression.
Thank you very much. So it's funny that we were looking this up. I went to dinner the other night with some friends, and we actually went to Lindsay's restaurant in Wareham, and I had to go to the restroom. Well, I had my Red Sox shirt on, and I know you guys can't see here, but from behind, it's nothing there. And I walked into the ladies' room, and an elderly woman comes and grabs me from behind, and she says, "You can't go in there." And I said, "Excuse me?" I turned around, and she's looking at my top half, and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she goes, I thought you were a man." I said, "Well, I can understand that from behind." I said, "But in Massachusetts, if I was a male and identified as a female, I could use the restroom." I think she was just too old to understand what I was saying, and I do talk fast. So I said it again. And she goes, "I'm so sorry." And she's looking at my chest, and I'm like, you can look up at any time now, it's okay. And she's just like, "No, I thought you were a man." And I said, "But again, in Massachusetts, if I identified a male and identified as a female, I could use the restroom." I said it like 3 times, and she wasn't understanding. She was just embarrassed that she grabbed a lady in the ladies' room. So, I guess I educate when I can. I do what I can do. We're talking about sexual orientation, gender identity, and people are like, "Well, I don't understand. But you were born a female." So I have a friend, and she's 94. She'll be 94 tomorrow. And her son's mom doesn't understand because her son-in-law, 2 kids, one is male and wants to be MTF, and his daughter is female and wants to be the other way around. Both sexes want to be the opposite sex right now. So here I am trying to explain to my friend's son-in-law's mom, "Well, how do you know that you're a girl?" "Well, I just know I am." I said, "Well, how do you know?" "I just am." "Well, you attracted to men?" She goes, "Yeah." "How do you know?" "I just am." I go, "That's how your kids feel. They just are." And it's as simple as that. And my friend who's 94 got it. And her son-in-law's mom still didn't get it. She's still trying to figure out that my granddaughter's my granddaughter, my grandson's my grandson, and she's not budging. I can't say her name. But my friend who's 94 got it right off the bat. And as easy as I said it, how do you know that you're a girl? And how do you know that you're attracted to boys or men? And she goes, "I just know. That's how I feel." And that's exactly how I kind of, put that out to her. Let's see. So let's talk about some of our things that we do at the Alley. What do we do at our youth center? Well, technically, it's actually going to be a community center at some point. So, do you know what we do?
We do discussions, so it's peer-led, adult-advised. So a peer leader picks a discussion, whether it be talking about anxiety or the LGBTQ alphabet or different along the spectrum, whatever they decide to choose for that night. For the first half, they have a discussion and we talk with each other, we interact, and then for the second half, it's usually a fun activity, so like a game, or we just relax, sit back, whatever.
Yeah. So we're open, when's MBI we open?
for
Thursday nights.
Thursday nights from 5 to 7.
Yeah. So right now at NB Agley, A Perfect Place Youth Center, we're working on, with the network, different groups to be open. So our youth said, you know what, let's give back to the community. South Coast Equality has done Pride Cafe for the last, I think, in 2010, 2011. So right now, what are you giggling for? All right, he's giggling. So with the network and us being able to open up our center to the community, Sundays right now we have Sober and Out. Sober and Out is basically like a gay organization, and it's called Sober and Out. Again, you can be straight and go, but that's between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. at 484 Pleasant Street. That's on Sundays. Mondays, starting this Monday, you guys don't even know.
Yoga.
Oh, you do know?
Yeah, we do.
Fine.
Someone who told
Yeah,
us.
so from 5, I already told you guys?
Yeah.
All right. So
Last
from 5:30 to 6:30 on Monday nights, it'll be yoga ages 14 up. You can be 101 years old if you want to do yoga.
Good for you.
Good for you. Come on Monday nights. And then Monday is Pride Cafe. Pride Cafe is hosted by South Coast Equality, or it had been for years, and South Coast Equality joined the network. So Monday nights, Pride Cafe is the 18 plus group. So they're talking, they have discussions. You've been there. What do you do?
We usually, it depends on the night, depends on how many people show up, but we usually we'll have discussion where we just talk to each other about what's going on, or we'll play a game and have a discussion after we've watched a movie before.
Yeah, there's been movies, just a hangout away from the bar scene. It's called Pride Cafe, like a cafe you would actually go to and kind of hang out and just kind of enjoy the night. So Tuesdays at A Perfect Place, there's nothing because we're here. Eileen and I do a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, so we really can't run a function or a group night on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, as we talked earlier, that we have a lot of questioning children, young kids. So from, tutoring. Thank you. Tutoring. We do tutoring from 4:30 to 5:45.
I've never been to it, so I don't know the time.
Oh, thank you. So David, one of our adult advisors, is a school teacher. So David does our tutoring for us, and every Wednesday it's our 14 to 24 group that we have tutoring, and then a Wednesday from. Oh, God help me! I forgot the time already.
7 to
6:30, 7:30. Wait, 5:45
to 6:30.
I forgot, Eileen. I'm sorry. It started in February, but we have a youth group, and it's any age up till 13 years old, and that's on our Wednesday night. And you can find that on the South Coast LGBT Network Facebook page. I apologize; the time is just slipping by. 5:45. We'll get back to that one. So Thursday is our MV Agley group, and we do 7 to 9, and we have our first Fridays, which Kevin talked about. So every first Friday of the month, it's youth-driven, peer-led with adult support. A lot of kids out there, and I call kids, you could be 30 years old, my kid's 31. They just want to hang out with their kids and the peer leaders, maybe do some talking without grown-ups around. So that's our first Friday. And then we have our Sober Now that we talked about on Sundays. We're still looking to do our NA group. So when we get that, we'll be able to open up some more nights and other things like that. And some good news for the network, we just received our 501c3 status. So we'll be able to get more grants, hopefully. And we just received a $15,000 grant for the network to do more things in the community and to help with New Bedford Pride, which is June 2nd. And our NV Agley group just received a $10,000 grant. And that goes for internships that we're looking for, and office equipment and desk work for the TV show that we're working on as well. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that we do that we just need to be able to have a space to go to and do that work. And especially the two of our peer leaders are actually going to be working behind the scenes, and they'll be able to do research for us on the computers and print out some information, because when Alex and I met today for the show, I probably had, 50 handouts or so. I had three of each copy. Kevin and I got one, and Alice got one, just to kind of review and see what we wanted to do. We could actually meet at NB Agley, meet at the office, print some things out, have a pre-meeting, and then come here, be well prepared. Does anybody have any questions? What do we got? What's the green for?
It says somebody's watching. Probably one of your friends is watching.
Oh, I have a friend? That's good to know. I haven't seen it. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Cody. New Bedford Guide. If you have a question about, If you guys want to sponsor the show, we're actually working on, because we just received our 501c3, we're going to be working on some other pages to get people to donate, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month. We're going to be working on that. We understand that people may not have a business they want to do an ad for, but hopefully maybe in the next 2 weeks we'll get back to you guys where you guys can donate $5, a show, just to kind of keep our programming going. We need to pay Josh behind the scene, AJ, depending on who's doing our camera work. New Bedford Guide has been very gracious to let us have this table to do our show. We need to help pay for that, as well as any 50% of the proceeds that we do receive will actually go back to the network to be able to fund these groups and organizations that we do provide services for. So each show that we do, if you guys could just tell us where you're at. I know you guys, Kevin's behind the screen making faces over here.
No, he's yawning.
Yeah, he's yawning, he's asleep. So I want to kind of talk about, we talked offline about, someone give me a time check? My guy's over here.
7:41.
7:41. We talked offline about Chaz Bono, and we talked about the other one.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn, thank you, Caitlyn Jenner. So Cher's daughter, which a lot of us knew growing up, Chastity Bono, ended up having a TV series called Becoming Chaz. And I actually watched that. I thought it was a tremendous day-to-day observation of what he was going through and the transition he had and the top surgery that they actually went into the room, the surgery, he had his surgery, came out, and they showed what they did. The bandages came off. You saw the bag, the drains, thank you, the drains. And I know that we were going to talk about some stuff that you're going to be having done at some point in your life.
So I have been looking at top surgeons actually in Boston and in Springfield. I'm not looking into top surgery until I'm probably in my freshman, sophomore year of college. Because one, if I have to pay for like a consultation, I want to have that extra money aside. Yeah. Because some doctors don't make you pay for your consultation where the state won't pay for that. And I want to be able to do more research, even though I have done a lot of research on top surgeons. I want to be able to know my information about the top surgeon, what their success rate is, how many people have actually had top surgery with them, if they're new to it, if they're experienced with it.
And one of the things we talked offline about is, our youth get a lot of guidance from us, their parents, doctors, and I think the other child I talked about earlier that had surgery 2 months ago went to see a psychologist as well, right? Psychologist, psychiatrist, which one do you know? What do you have to do? Do you know? You're still in the working process.
I know you have to get a letter from your therapist.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And you have to get a letter from your primary care doctor.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes that, our youth, thankfully, they have us. They have a good support system at home. We have a lot of kids out there that don't have that support. They don't have the funding. They don't have the resources. And we actually talked about the reality of Chaz coming out and the TV show. And it was documented, that's just my opinion, very well. Went step by step, real life, real today, real tomorrow. And yet when we saw...
Caitlyn Jenner.
Thank you. God help me. I keep wanting to say the dead name. Caitlyn Jenner, next thing you know, she's already had the surgery, she's done. And we talked about how come she can go that quick and get the testosterone, estrogen, thank you. And some of our youth can't, or people can't afford it. And we said, well, she's got the money. She probably just went to somebody and said, hey, I'd like it done, thank you, and I'm done. But maybe as Bruce is going through life, he said, you know what, I'm going to do it. Maybe behind the scenes there's a lot that we don't know, that he'd already been doing behind the scenes that we just don't know, and it wasn't televised. But I really like, Chaz Bono, and when you see Cher out there, they're together. And it took her a little bit. Cher was only on the show every now and then. Very rarely throughout the whole show was Cher shown. It was the Chaz, Chaz Becoming Chaz show. And I thought it gave a good perspective. So if you guys ever want to go back and look at Becoming Chaz, take a look at that and kind of see, his development and his transition. And as Cody was saying earlier, everybody identifies how they do for themselves and what they feel comfortable with, and just being themselves. So what do you want to tell us about your life or anything that we haven't talked about, Cody?
Let's go back to Chaz Bono.
Yeah.
I think it was a really huge occasion for, for the television world.
Yeah.
This is actually an F to M. Usually you've heard about, Caitlyn. No, I don't think it was before Caitlyn Jenner. But it's always been, M to F, where this is F to M. And it was more of our generation, the younger baby boomers or whatever you want to call them, It was really a big statement out there.
Yeah. I think it's easier for a girl to show, to wear the men's clothes and nobody has it doesn't really say anything about it. It's when the man puts on the female clothes and still looks like a man that people have an issue with it. I wish it would change, or it could change, and maybe at some point it will change. Like I said, next year is the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. 50 years ago, people stood up and said, "I'm done," and that's why we have Pride in June every month now. Should be every year now since for 50 years. So I'm definitely going to New York Pride next year. I've got to figure out how to get there and celebrate their 50th.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. I've never been, so what a way to go, what a way to be. What would you like to say? That's all you have? Should I read my notes? Surgery, family, FTM. Yeah, I think that's that's about it. I think we'll end a few minutes early tonight. And next week's show, we'll see you at 7 o'clock. And I won't tell you what it's going to be. It could be homelessness. Unfortunately, we had to cancel in the last 2 weeks because the studio's being moved. So I had to bump a couple shows. So I'm just trying to get lined up again. We weren't sure if we were going to be here tonight. And we are. Thank you for the Bedford Guide and Josh and AJ behind the scenes. And Kevin behind us is probably, no, he's awake. Just kidding. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.